It's 5 o'clock, and you're off the clock with B-Sky. And today, we're excited to have as our guest Tyler Stewart, professional bass fisherman. And we had the privilege of fishing with him yesterday, and we're going to get into that a little bit later in the video. But before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and check out the gear shop. There's tons of new merch on there, hats, keychains, fishing gear, tons of stuff, updated daily. So to my right, I got Daryl Moore and Tim Scott, and we're going to talk fishing. So let's get right into this. So, man, it was a pleasure meeting you yesterday and, having the opportunity to fish with you. I definitely know now what separates like an average fisherman and a pro. Don't you agree, Daryl?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'm not even gonna lie, I was a little nervous about taking you guys yesterday. I went, you always want to get a good first impression. I wanted to get out there and smash them, but I went out for a few minutes the afternoon before and found a couple big schools, and I knew there's a good chance we were going to get them yesterday. So it was fun.
I was just blown away by like how efficient. So you did the scout, right? And then we went there and you took us to the spot you found and the quality of fish.
Yeah, so this time of the year, a lot of times those bigger fish will group up and kind of suspend over the channel, which out there is just like the creek channel. We caught most of those fish out of channel bins, and they were just on a bunch of bait in that area. And a lot of times when you find them out there, they're better quality. And of course, we were throwing glide baits and big worms and stuff. That's always going to get your bigger bites anyway. So I'm sure there was some small ones down there. We just fortunately caught the good one.
Yeah, I mean, y'all whooped me though. I mean, Daryl, how many did you catch? Jimmy, you caught
3.
You caught 3, and you caught 2 with the glide bait, but you had like 3 come
Yeah,
off.
I broke one off. I bit the hook out on one and then lost 2 on that glide. It was not good.
Yeah, I caught 1 fish, which was the least amount, and not only was it just 1 fish, it was the smallest fish we caught too.
All right.
Absolutely.
That's usually how it works out,
Hey,
isn't it?
dude, but it was a blast. I learned a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a good day. I mean, anytime when you can go out into July, 1st August, and catch a 20-plus pound bag on any body of water, it's a pretty good day. So I was happy with it. Sure.
But you got to tell people, too, your small fish wasn't small.
No,
Like, we're
I mean, it
averaging
was-
like 4 and 5 pounders. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
your fish like 3
I was
pounds.
the smallest of the group, guys.
Yeah.
You know
Like
what I
a
mean?
3-pound bass we'll take that any day of the week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, man, tell us a little bit about the history of how you got into bass fishing and to where you are now.
So I have kind of a different story. So I started, when I was young, I actually started out in the motocross industry. And I raced motocross for 15 years. And in 2010, I had a bad accident, and it actually left me legally blind in my left eye. Well, I'd always fished for fun and liked it. Luckily, I was still young enough at that time. I was homeschooled during that time, doing the racing full time. So luckily, after that happened, and I realized that career was pretty much over, I jumped back in school, got into like the high school fishing, and did that, and then fished all 4 years of college at University of Louisiana Monroe. And the year before, so my sophomore year, we won 2 championships that year. And then when I got done with college, I had a invitation to fish the FLW Tour. Well, luckily, from like the motocross days, I'd already built a big relationship with Monster Energy, which is my title sponsor, been with me since day one. They helped me out, and I accepted that invite, and it's been 7 years going at it. So it's been a long road, but I enjoy it, and looking forward to trying to continue doing it.
What is your goals? I mean, I know you fish every day, and obviously you want to make money at fishing, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
So, what's your long-term goals with this? I mean, where do you see yourself?
So, like this year, I got my first professional win.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really big bucket list deal that I finally checked off, and that qualified me for Red Crest, which is one of the biggest bass tournaments in the world. And just to be competitive, for as long as I can. That's really the goal, and to continue making a living doing something that I love.
Right. And your family backs you 100%.
100%. Yeah, my wife, I have a great wife. She she backs me 100%. She's a veterinarian in Calhoun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when she gets a chance, she comes to some of the events and watches. But most of the time, I'm just traveling with my roommates and stuff. But yeah, I have a huge support system back home.
That's good. That's awesome. It always makes it easier when you got family
does.
supporting you.
Yeah.
It does.
I know Daryl has a really good family because you hunt and fish like every day.
Yeah. With 3 kids. So she's the real champion there.
Dude,
She is.
there's no doubt.
Haley, there's no way Haley gets the credit she deserves. I don't know if you could give her the credit she
I bet if
deserves.
she asked
It's
you,
hard.
I bet if she asked you, "Are you my soulmate?" You say, "Yes, ma'am."
Yes.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
I guarantee it. What a super trooper.
When she tells me she's like, I need a day, I'm like, okay. You got it.
Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Where do you
What do you want to do? I got it.
Yeah, so I see. How long y'all been married?
So we've been married since December 2022.
Wow.
So a little over a year.
That's awesome.
We've been together since 2013, though. I mean, we've been together a long time. We were engaged for 3 years. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't take we took our time for sure.
Yeah.
You ever take her fishing?
Yeah, she loves to go fishing. But she's one of those that if it's hot and they're not biting,
The conditions got to be right.
she actually came out with me when I went and scouted the day before. You guys came with me, and we just rode around the lake. She, I knew I was only gonna be out there an hour or so, so we just cruised around the lake and graphed around, and then went and ate dinner in Farmerville. So she gets to come out a pretty good bit.
That's good.
That's awesome, man. That's really good stuff there, having a sport line. So tell us about this past fishing season, right?
Mhm.
Your win going into it, obviously it probably has ups and downs.
Yep.
Going into these tournaments, what do you have on your mind? Like what is your main focus?
You get nervous? You still get nervous?
So, like my first years on tour, like I'd be like about to throw up,
Yeah, butterflies.
Yeah.
And
But now it's just I'm not downplaying it at all. It's still feels like a big deal, but I'm just kind of in the motions now. You know what I mean? It's I've been on tour for 7 years now, and just go out there and do the best I can, and that's all you can do. And a lot of times, sometimes it doesn't go your way, sometimes it does, and you just got to be prepared for either or.
Yeah.
Like the one I won this year, I had the worst practice of my life. I was
Really
curious if I was even going to catch a bass in the tournament. First place I pull up on, I catch a giant bag in like 10 minutes. I mean, it was a terrible, probably a good lake. We were there at a tough time. It was super muddy, super low. It was hard to catch a limit there.
You smashed him. What you get?
Caught on chatterbait.
Yeah.
Chatterbait.
That's what I remember seeing.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about it. Like, you
Yeah.
smashed him on a chatterbait.
Yeah, it's like the first tournament that's been won that not on forward facing sonar in like 2 years. It was crazy.
I bet.
That's pretty wild. Is it hard to keep like your focus when you're out there and it's not going the right way? Like, do you gotta like stop and be like, okay, I gotta take a minute. I gotta calm down.
My deal is like what I kind of struggle with is like when you go out there and just say things aren't going your way, you lose like those 2 bites that you were hoping to get that day. Like it's tough to like regroup and say, all right, those aren't the only 2 opportunities I'm going to get. We just got to keep pushing.
But it's
forward.
hard.
Yeah.
You convince yourself you're going to have more.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like going into it, you're like, I'm probably going to get 2 big bites. I need to capitalize on them. And then when you lose those 2 big ones,
Like now there could be nothing.
Yeah. So like that, even I had an event at St. Clair last week. That's kind of the deal that happened there. Like I started off the day, lost like 2 4-pounders right off the bat, and wasn't catching many 4-pounders, and that just put me in a downward spiral through the whole event. Then my batteries went to sleep at like 11 o'clock, so I was no trolling motor driving around, just and when you don't have a trolling motor, it's one thing if you don't have a trolling motor and you can at least like turn the head, but when you don't have a trolling motor and your trolling motor stuck one way and you're trying to live scope, it is impossible. So like for the half the day in that event, I just pulled up in the middle of a bunch of mats and just flipped for largemouth just to get through the event. But yeah, stuff like that happens all the time.
So it does happen? I mean,
I guess that's something I ain't thought about. You run into some like technical difficulties out there.
Oh, absolutely.
You're stuck in the water with it.
So it actually cost me the BPT last year. So I had that exact same scenario happen, but it wasn't the batteries. It was my fault. Like the breaker the night before flipped on our Airbnb, and I'd practiced all day on those batteries, and it didn't get charged at all. As soon as I put the boat in the water, everything was fine, turned on, ran to my first spot, put the trolling motor down, clicked the button, it went about 2 foot, and then just shut off.
At that moment, you're like,
And that's like, I ain't even made a cast yet.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff can cost you.
So, I mean, does that happen to everybody or just you?
No, that happens to a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there's little technical difficulties. People don't make it back all the time from motor issues or different things. And when you're running different batteries and stuff, I have great batteries. Pro Guide lithium. Haven't had any issues out of them, but there's just little technical difficulties.
They just won't work if you don't charge them.
Right. Exactly.
That's the first step, is charging them.
you gotta think.
It's definitely on me.
Right.
You gotta think though. It's like the breaker flipped in the middle of the night. I mean, that's hard to
The pressure.
avoid.
Yeah.
The pressure going out there and having to make a living catching fish, and you have a problem like that, I would go nuts.
Yeah.
That would drive me insane.
It's tough.
And you can't have enough extra stuff. Like, you can't just have a whole battery set.
That's right. That's right. And imagine the you fished all year to get in the position you're in.
Yeah.
And then everything leads to this one moment. It's like final, okay, this is it. We got to get it done.
Right.
And then just something like that happened. It, put you down for sure.
Right. Yeah, it happens. There's so many scenarios. I mean, like when the waves get rough, like when we were at St. Clair last week, at daylight, we could run all the way out in the middle of St. Clair from the Detroit River in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But when we were coming back, it would take an hour and a half to get back because it was so rough. And like you don't account for that sometimes because it only took you 30 to get there. You'd be late, and it's like a pound a minute or something. For every minute you are late. There's a lot of stuff that can happen.
You got any tips? Talking about rough water. You got any tips that tell folks how to keep their fish alive? I mean, do you struggle with that?
I do struggle sometimes with keeping fish alive. The main thing is, putting some TH Marine G juice in there.
Yeah,
that does really well, and then keeping some ice in your live well and just recirculating.
Yeah.
That's about your best case scenario. This time of the year, it is so hard to keep fish alive. I don't care what boat you have. I don't care what live well system you have. If you keep a fish in your boat with this water temp, for 8-9 hours, there's a good chance it's going to die.
Yeah. So what do you do in a situation like that? I mean, you fish these tournaments and the water's hot and you got a pretty good bag. I mean, do you think about it all the time?
There's been times I've weighed in 2 hours early before just because like I knew I had a pretty good bag. And,
I got you.
So it's a strategy, right?
Yeah. Like I'm like, all right, like I don't think I'm going to upgrade. And
that makes sense.
I mean, if you get a 20-pound day,
That's
especially on day
you
one,
get a 20-pound.
you might as well go weigh it in.
Yeah, you got to keep. Yeah,
if you break the century mark in a 4-day tournament, or
and a lot of these tournaments, like
pounds.
1 ounce is such a big deal, and you lose. It's a quarter pound for every dead fish every dead fish you bring in is a quarter pound. So that can happen. Last year at Mississippi River, was our last event of the year. I missed the cut by 1 ounce, and the last day I had 4 dead fish.
Oh wow,
man!
What I did is I sucked the clean water up in my boat before I got like in the back. It was like a bunch of stagnant, backwater where I was fishing. Well, I put a bunch of clean water, good fresh water in the live well. But what I forgot to do is turn my pump to recirculate. And when I got back in that nasty, muggy, water with not much oxygen, I pumped all that into that. Pumped it all in my live well, and it killed every fish in there.
No kidding.
Mm.
So dang, I never thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
that makes sense.
If you get way back up in an area where there's not a lot of oxygen, probably not a lot of fish, you pump that that water in there, it'll mess them up.
I caught a fish. I don't know, a few weeks ago. It was a pretty good fish, 6-7 pounder, and he died on me.
Yeah,
and you didn't have it very long at all.
I tried. I tried to get her going again. I tried for at least an hour, but she just kept floating sideways.
Yeah,
I
think it puts a lot of strain and stress on the fish too this time of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to
So
think
hot.
the water temperature's 85, 90 degrees, something like that.
It was.
Yeah, so when it's that hot, it's hard to keep them alive. I mean, yesterday we fortunately kept all our fish alive, but we were constantly putting ice and G-juice on them. So having to really monitor them. And they were not doing great when we put them back. And we only had them in there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
If it had been an 8-hour tournament, we'd have been cooked.
Yeah. And I feel like that's why y'all don't have tournaments this time of year.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Because
And when we
reason- or you go
do,
north.
we go north, which the a lot cooler, water temp's a lot cooler,
Yeah.
not as much fatality rate.
For sure.
Yeah,
I
because
think-
that's one thing that like a lot of bass fishermen really, like if people are out there trying to catch trophy bass, they're keeping the fish alive no matter what. Most of the time they don't even keep them unless you're tournament fishing or you're doing something else special with them. But yeah, getting the fish back in the water, getting them to leave healthy, swim off good, it's a big deal.
100%.
So fishing. So did you join the fishing crowd with Ford Sonar, or was you more of a? Has that really changed the way you fish?
So
did you have to learn it? To compete?
I did. So
Okay.
luckily, well, I don't know if it's luckily or not, but 2018 was my first year on tour. At that
Okay.
point, forward facing sonar wasn't really a big deal yet.
Right.
So I kind of feel like I'm in between. Now, don't get me wrong, I love forward facing sonar, but I feel like I'm kind of in the middle between the old guys that are struggling with it and the new guys that are really good with it. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Yeah.
I love it and I've used it as much as I can, but there's like those new guys coming up, those guys straight out of college, they're on another level with it.
They just do nothing but that.
It's like it's hard for me to go to a lake when, like, for instance, if I'm not seeing any fish on my live scope and I'm looking around, I might go throw a frog or go flip a bush or something on the bank. These kids do not do that. Like,
What do they do?
They keep looking.
they're going to keep looking, and they're not, I mean, like, they don't have anything else
Right.
for the most part. You know
do
what
you
I mean?
feel that's a disadvantage for you? Do you feel like you can get on that level with electronics, or do you feel like, do you feel like you can get to that level?
I feel like, honestly, I feel like I'm at that level as far as
Do you feel like
being able to use it and utilize it.
Mhm.
I feel like mentally is what I'm gonna have to change mentally to get to that level.
Yeah, because you always know in the back of your mind that I could do some old school stuff if I need to.
Yeah.
I've done it
absolutely.
because I've done it in the
which
past.
which those guys don't do.
They don't
Right.
know nothing about it.
Right.
Right. Is there ever a situation where you fish against the newer generation
Mhm.
that they have an advantage over you, or have you ever seen it where using forward sonar has really hurt them?
Like a disadvantage.
I've never seen it be a disadvantage.
Really?
No, I really
Because the
haven't.
more you know, the more you know.
I really haven't.
But I guess like at West Point when he won though, that would technically be a disadvantage for him. With muddy water.
But the deal was 9 out of the top 10 were live scoping.
They were
Right.
never mind.
So
It's hard. I mean,
So
you really can't compete.
You have
Like,
you have to literally
you have
get
to
get
be,
good at it.
Yeah, yeah. And
You
I've
have to get
spent the
good at it.
last 4 years like literally doing.
So how do you
nothing but
train
that.
yourself for live scoping? So what's the stuff? So the guys watching this live, this podcast, and these guys are getting into fishing. What is the steps of training yourself to use live scope? I mean, how do you do it?
So I think the biggest thing is just being able to verify what fish you're looking at.
Right, and that's hard. 'Cause
And,
I'd be throwing at crappies. I'd be throwing at everything.
Well, and then you go to these other places like Kentucky Lake or these places where there's tons of carp and all this other stuff. Like Rayburn, there's a ton of catfish that are the same size as bass, kind of look like them too. You know what I
Right,
mean? And they set up in timber and they look like bass. And so for me, it's just kind of trying to figure out exactly figuring out what fish you're looking at. And then once you do that, then the next step would be trying to figure out how to catch them.
Right, and it's hard.
We've always thought that like fishing on the bottom, no matter what, is like
Right.
the way to go. But since forward facing sonars came out, it's showed us how many fish are just out there roaming around.
Yeah,
Right.
suspended.
And then out of all those fish you see, if you let your bait get too close to them, they won't eat it. Like
Right.
you almost have to keep it 2 or 3 feet above their head and getting away from them for them to commit to it. Like if you drop it on, I'm not saying it won't happen, but like just say you're over 30 foot of water and you see one suspended out there in 15 foot. If I was going to throw at that fish, I would throw past him and try to keep it over his head 2 or 3 foot. And once he starts exerting energy, try to get away from him. Where at first, and a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll throw straight at the fish, let it go down to the fish's nose. He gets a good look at it, doesn't eat it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So, like with crappie, you can do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But with the bass, it seems like
It's not really natural though.
I think it has something to do with like on brush and stuff. It's different. Like I don't know.
It's more of an ambush bite,
Right?
maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they can see so good out there in that open water. They
Right.
kind of know the deal. Like I was mentioning earlier. Like I noticed last year, a lot of the fish I was throwing at, if they heard me hit my trolling motor to turn the boat or something, they would take off.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how like sensitive they are to that.
Right. Right.
They know when something's up, especially the big fish.
Right,
The,
yeah.
the ones you need to secure the tournament.
I
Those
think
fish know.
which also makes sure sense about the guy at one of our lakes we like to go to, the kayak guy. What he told us about.
Hey,
He went
he's
down
on to it. Yeah.
with live scope, and if somebody came through with a boat, a bass boat, it'd scare
Just
all the
leave.
fish off the trees. And the minute they leave, he just was sitting there. They all just come back in there.
Really?
Set up.
Mhm.
And he would wear them
Hey,
out like
we,
big ones.
we've watched this guy. He just kayaks around this lake, and he will sit up on a spot, and he'll just put his thing
Paddles.
right there, his paddles right there in his lap, and he'll sit there for 30 minutes, won't put in the water not one bit. Then he'll start casting and stuff, and he catches.
I think
monsters.
live scope or whatever you're
Monsters.
using has taught us that, has educated these anglers. So when will the technology of that go into boats and fishing tackle? And because it obviously is teaching us how to fish better.
Right. No doubt.
I mean, it is.
Well, it's like, we're learning so much stuff. A lot of the stuff that we were taught before forward facing sonar that we were taught our whole lives, is
was
not
wrong.
true.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
I mean,
that's another deal too. Like, this is off topic, but I've got a thermal drone and I've been watching deer and stuff around my house and knowing what they do in the summer versus what people have told me my whole life. Like, I'm not saying they don't have like a really small home range because they do in the summer, but watching those deer, like they'll travel 2 or 3 miles a day in the summer sometimes.
right.
It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. It's like without this technology, there's no way of knowing that.
Yeah.
So you go off, but just based off what you do know, which is like just a game camera or what you
Yep.
see, and you only see a small slither of the actual
Yeah.
story of it.
Yeah. There's no telling how many times we're sitting in the sand thinking he's bedded down 20, 30 yards
Right.
from us and he's 3 miles away.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
up somewhere else.
Yeah.
Some
Hey,
other property.
Yeah,
he's hanging out.
he's on a 300-yard circle right here.
Yeah.
So swing back around about 7:35,
Yeah.
and then no, that dude's like he's almost another county, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So-
crazy.
So you like to hunt a lot too, right?
I do. I love it. Yeah. Basically, my fishing season goes from the end of January through August. So, from August through the 1st of January, I got a little bit at home, but I spent a lot of time hunting as well.
Fishing or hunting, which one?
Yeah, if you could only do
You can
one,
only do one the
for
rest
the
of your
rest
life.
of your life, which would you do?
I don't know. I like them both about the same. I enjoy hunting more just because there's not as
No
much stress.
pressure.
It ain't necessarily
Okay.
work for you either.
Let's take away. We're taking away tournament fishing. Just one. You could just fish
or hunt.
fish
Yeah.
or hunt. You get to
Look,
pick.
I mean, look at that. You either pick that or catching big old hogs fishing all the time.
We're taking away
Which
no
are you
pressure.
picking?
I don't know.
No-
I can't.
Well,
No
you know-
comment. 50-50.
Well,
I'm going fishing.
well, he obviously gets paid to go fishing. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a little bit different experience for him.
fishing.
but
Yeah,
I think Ford Sonar for me is turned fishing into hunting.
it is, and
Yeah.
and it's actually a lot of fun. I enjoy that aspect of it. And like even before forward facing sonar, I would go out to the lake and not even bring a rod a lot of times and just craft for hours. Just looking because I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, it's like hunting, you
Yeah.
know, and it's for me. I don't catch a lot of fish like Daryl. Daryl like catch a lot.
I
of
mean, he
fish.
is the zookeeper.
but I tend to catch a big fish. That's what I'm looking for. So
Right.
it's kind of like hunting for me.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
quiet, no cell phone service, awesome. But hunting season when the weather gets cold and you start wearing hoodies and you eating chili and
It's a good time of year.
you see a rut,
know?
you see
Right.
a rutting buck out there. Ooh wee.
I think the reason why hunting
Golly, we gotta stop talking about this.
I like hunting so much too is like it's during that time of the year where everything's just so nice outside.
it's
You know what I mean?
pretty, too.
I love
Leaves.
fishing in the
Yeah.
winter and the fall too. Like I like fishing in the winter and fall more than the summer for sure.
I know our boats run better in the winter.
The motors
yeah.
be wind out.
Yeah.
The like fishing right now, you can ask those guys. Yesterday it was hot. Dude.
Yeah, it's
I
hot,
couldn't
yeah.
get
By
home quick
10
enough. I was-
o'clock, it was like, yeah.
we were out of water.
We need
just
some
slamming
IVs.
monsters. I mean,
Yeah, we were saving one for the big one, the big fish. We're
Yeah,
saving
we were-
one
yeah, we were
for a
hoping-
celebratory monster.
yeah, we were hoping B. Scott was going to bust one of those monsters over his head and shotgun it, but
Oh, yeah.
we didn't get that fish that we were looking for.
So duck hunting. You enjoyed if you had to pick one style of hunting, either deer, turkey, duck, what do you enjoy the most there? Because right there, you look like you had a pretty good hunt.
Definitely the deer. I love duck hunting. I like the chase of duck hunting more than I like actually killing, believe it
Right,
or not. Like
right.
I enjoy believe it or not, the thrill of the boat race, getting up and trying to get the hole. Like I like killing them too, but that whole like unknown is a lot of fun to me.
Yeah, for me it was about the dog.
Well, going back to your racing
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
it's almost like you got a way to do that again.
Yeah,
And also hunt with it.
right.
And that's like that's a 2-for-1 right there.
I think because every morning, no matter how many ducks you kill, once you kill about 10 in the morning, it's all the same thing over and over.
Absolutely.
It
It
is.
really is. Like I love it. Like but after you kill like 10 every morning, like it's like
Yep.
it's the same thing over and over.
It's
Yeah.
the dealing with the I forgot my drain plug. It's dealing with the I can't get my motor to start. It's the journey of the duck hunt because the duck hunt it's like it
never
starts so
smooth.
early and it's so long. Even though you
Yeah.
might be done by 8,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Feels
like,
like a
a
12-hour
whole
day.
giant journey.
Yeah.
And you can't wait to just like kick back and relax for a little bit.
Then you wake up and do it again.
And you're always tired.
Yeah.
You're always
Yeah.
tired.
Always
Yeah.
tired, day in day out, but you still do it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's mainly like I said, the unknown. Trying to get to the hole. Whether you're gonna get beat to it. Bringing 2 or 3 boats, you and your buddies. Lining up in other holes around that hole so nobody gets on top of you. That whole deal's fun.
The strategy, man.
Yeah, it's all
It's a
strategy.
strategy.
Playing chess over here.
You gotta get you a Havoc, man.
That's his first problem.
Yeah, I'm planning on trying to
Yeah.
get one pretty soon.
You gotta get you a Havoc.
Yeah, so about that, I actually had a aluminum boat this past fall. I'm not gonna roast it
Mention
too.
name
I'm
names.
not gonna
No,
mention
no.
any
Let's
names.
just not do that.
But I definitely I totaled it out in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Just from stump.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, they're not all built equal.
Right.
You know, a lot of boat manufacturers build boats based off their mistakes in the past, and that comes back. You know, it comes from experience. You know, so
Right.
you know,
Like the same thing when you're fishing. You know what to do because of what you've done.
Right.
Right. And it's the same thing with building boats.
yeah, it's like going to the hospital and having heart surgery. Somebody to just get out
Like
of
an
med school.
intern.
Right.
You know,
first day on the job.
I want
Yeah.
the guy that's done this for like 40 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Out of school.
He's seen some stuff happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's seen it go
I
wild.
want to see the surgeon of the year.
That's right.
4 years running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like it takes you back to the
But
the
Lasco,
other question.
yeah,
too.
but
It's
Lasco, like new technology, like maybe do want the young guy
I
that just
know.
came out of school. Maybe he knows the
Maybe.
trick.
do you
Maybe.
want the pilot the solo pilot that's been flying for 45 years that's now 68 years old, or do you want the guy that's 24?
Depends if he has.
I mean, he said a heart attack mid-flight. You're going down either way.
Yeah.
I mean,
In that case, I'd probably want the younger.
like, do you want a parachute that's been tested and somebody else repacked, or do you want a brand new one?
No, I'd probably want a younger pilot and a good parachute.
I'll tell you,
The best
I
of the
definitely,
best.
I definitely want a new parachute.
You think so?
Yeah,
Hey,
Dude.
we supposed to go skydiving.
I'm out. I'll go watch, but I'm
Hey,
out.
Hey, I say we we go down with the
I'm scared of
spears,
heights.
spears tied on,
Okay.
right?
Dude, my
Skydive into an area and spear hunt out.
Well, you know, you're talking about skydiving. I mean, you're hooked up with Monster. They ain't making you skydive or nothing. They ain't
No,
making
dude, I
crazy?
haven't got to do anything too crazy.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
Monster does all kinds of cool stuff.
They do. They're into the motocross stuff really heavy, the skateboard, just pretty much any action
the trophy
sports.
trucks.
If you ever get an option,
Yeah.
they would call you and say, "Hey, come do this event. This is something."
So yeah, I did Loretta Lynn's, which is the amateur national championship
I
in
got you.
Tennessee every
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Last year I brought my boat to that event and
I
had
got
that
you.
there. So yeah, I get to do some cool stuff. And last spring we went, me and the VP of the company went to Andros Island and did some filming for bonefish, fly fishing. We did that, and I've done a few TV shows with them and stuff. We do some really cool stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I've always heard good things about Monster.
I got a really, really good video idea that we could do with Monster.
Oh yeah,
If you can get us, if you could pitch this idea, I think we can make it happen. It'd be sick.
oh yeah.
I'll tell you about it later.
They do some pretty good stuff. I mean,
There's been nobody do this.
okay.
Nobody.
Oh God.
All right.
You know what I mean?
This is
This is a,
Maybe.
this is a one of a one. Nobody has done it ever, and nobody is planning on doing it other than me.
Maybe you could convince Monster of that.
Well, hey, he's gonna convince Monster. I'm just gonna tell Tyler what I want to do. He's gonna convince him.
I hear you. I hear you. So what's your biggest dreams, man? I mean, what is your like? Where do you want to be?
So yeah, I mean, winning Red Crest, a national,
Mhm.
tournament would be a dream come true for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I feel like I'm honestly living my dream right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm
You
getting
are.
to do what I enjoy do for a living, and get a pretty good amount of time off to spend with my family, and yeah, I have no complaints right now. So
Right.
pretty much just
You seem like a pretty humble guy.
I don't know. Yeah, I
He-
try to be.
he's super laid back.
Yeah.
I mean, we showed up with our poles as unprepared as me and Daryl are.
Or Daryl, especially.
He didn't. Dude, he was like, "Oh, y'all good? Take your time."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the whole time, like, Daryl, we got to get it together. Okay, this is our chance.
Yeah.
And we were screwing it up. And he's worried about putting us on good fish. And I'm thinking, I just hope I got enough line. My first cast I cast it out. I had like 25 feet of line on my
Hit the
reel.
knot.
He's
Hit
at
the
the
knot.
knot.
I'm at the knot, and he's like the fish are about 45 feet out. I'm like 28 foot. I'm like, this ain't good.
That's his flipping pole.
I'm like, I don't usually fish this pole. Big legs.
My flipping bow.
I'm like, I can't make this up. And Daryl has his crankbait on, right? His first cast, it bird nest, and he launches his crankbait.
Were you guys nervous or what? Huh?
Dude, I
That
was
was my
like,
first cast, but I picked the crankbait up. I'm like, I'm gonna throw a crankbait. So everybody shake your head. So I pick it up. And I go to chunk it. And I just push the button.
Oh, we forgot your crankbait too.
Yeah, we didn't go get my. It's like a 22 going. I was like, wow. I was like,
And all I see is crankbait just
right on. It was right on.
It was
It was right on the
6 cents
fish.
crankbait.
No, it was a I don't even know what kind of one of the deep diving
Oh, yeah.
Strike King ones.
man.
But
Yeah, me and Daryl was not clutch in that situation. He did not appear by no means to know what
let me tell you the
hell we were doing.
craziest thing ever. You know, when we catch fish, 5-pounder, we're kind of, you freak out a little bit, right? Tyler hooks one.
Oh yeah.
He's sitting there fighting it, and you can tell, you know a good fish when it's
Oh,
coming.
yeah.
It's like, he jumps. We're like, me and B's like, you want to get the net?
I'm like,
you want to get the net? You want to get the net? He's like, no, I'm boat flipping. He just,
nonchalant.
me and B Scott look at each other. Golly.
I'm like, we're breaking poles today.
All right.
Everything's getting boat flipped.
I'm not using that either. Who uses nets?
Well, that's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. So, yeah. Who uses a net?
Yeah, we don't use nets
use-
for elderly and women and children.
Yes.
That's what nets are for.
Every time I try to use a net, that's when I lose one.
Yeah, so I got
That event in West Point this year that I won, we can use nets in MLF.
Oh, yeah.
I did not use a net one time that week. I boat flipped
come?
every one of them because every
You
time
got more confidence in boat
I have
flipping?
way more confidence in boat flipping, even if they're better fish. Because a lot of times, if you get them coming and they they're coming straight at you, and you can get that leverage and get them in the boat, they're probably the way they're hooked. If they start turning or doing some different stuff, that leverage of that hook can come out. That's when I lose them every time.
Yeah. I get nervous.
because you always got the pole up netting them.
Yeah, because like the way you got your your rod up, just the angle,
Yeah.
And
A lot
then
of
they
times you
start
got-
shaking their head
Yeah.
real bad.
Yeah.
it does make sense.
Get slack in your line, dude.
Most big fish have come pretty much without a net.
If I'm not using a spinning rod,
That's true.
I'm boat flipping.
You're boat flipping.
Yep. Unless I got a buddy with me. Like if we're in like a team tournament or something and I got
Right.
John on them, but I'll
And-
pull it into the net. But when you're by yourself, it's tough.
It
What
is
do you
tough.
what do
It is
you
tough.
deem a all right? So we deem a giant a certain way. Somebody that doesn't fish a lot deems a giant, and it's usually less than what we deem a giant. But what do you deem a giant?
That's situational though, right? Because you
It just depends on what lake you're at,
Yeah.
for sure. Like
Okay.
around
So it's
our area,
different.
I would say Darbone, Caney, Claiborne. Anything over 8 pounds is a giant.
Yeah.
Bussy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anything
agree.
under 7, 6, 5. We have some great fisheries. We're like really
really.
fortunate to have the fisheries we have around our house that have that
Especially-
quality of fish.
I mean, I was shocked too.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of good lakes where around where you live. And
there is. And I get to travel the country, and I still, I tell people all the time, I think I live in the best like fishing area.
yeah, East Texas.
Because you can go any
North
direction and
Louisiana,
Yep.
get to
South
pretty quick.
Arkansas. Man, that's some really good fishing in there.
I think too, when you see people in tournaments, they be on TV, they're like, this is a big one, this is a big one, this is a giant one. It'd be 4 pounds. And people be like, this is not a big one. You have people in comments and stuff. I'm like, it's not
In
not
that
big.
situation.
It's not big if you're just out casually fishing.
Right.
A 4-pounder, when you need 5 fish, is a big fish.
It is a big
That's
fish.
that's the
man.
difference between
it's-
like top 10 and
That's right.
lower 50s.
Yeah.
Right, Tyler? Like you
Right, yeah.
get a 4-pounder, you're like, it's a big one.
Yeah, yeah,
You
this
know,
is- it's a
this is
giant.
good. This is big. This is huge.
And going back to that being like situational stuff, like what really stuck out to me watching you fish yesterday, not only how you work the baits, that impressed me, and that
Yeah.
impressed you too, because we were talking about on the way home, but it was the pace and the consistency of you, like the
It's-
way you would just operate. See, I think what I get caught doing a lot of times is just working the same bait. Like, okay, I know there's fish here. Eventually they'll bite it.
Right.
You're constantly changing it up on them, and you might throw the same bait, different times throughout that, trying to catch that fish or whatnot. But you're constantly
But
just moving.
And so he does like, which we all kind of do, but like he's like real like he move bait, bite, and he's like, all right, we're gonna go this angle at him. Boom, 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 hit him there. Move this angle, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
and he's gone. He's like, all right, we'll be back.
Yeah, so I really
Right.
think our fisher, we have a lot of fishing pressure just in our area, and I
Right.
think the fish are pretty educated. And for me, like if we're sitting on a school of fish, and even if it's 20, 30, 40, a big school, if you're sitting there throwing a bait in them over and over and over again, getting one to react is probably. I'm not saying you won't catch one every now and again, but like the longer you sit there, the less of a chance. Like the more educated you're getting those fish.
Yeah, you're just teaching them.
So for me, like I'll switch it up with baits a little bit, and then if it's not happening, like I'll run somewhere else, and then give them fish an hour or so to, to group back up and to, maybe not be as educated. Then I'll try to sneak back up on them. And when I say sneak back up on them, shut down kind of far away from them and troll real slow up to them, And that's what we did yesterday afternoon. You know, we let that school rest for a little while. Me and you pulled up. We caught another 5 and like a 4.
Yeah.
And we sat on that school for an hour without a bite, you know,
Right.
earlier. So I think just rotating different schools and, you know, different baits.
But every
Oh.
situation's different, right? Like
It is. And
like-
sometimes you don't have that many
Right.
schools. You have one spot that they're sitting on.
But you got drop offs, you got ambush areas.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
Yeah. So, like I said yesterday, we were just sitting mainly on a couple
That's
creek
sick.
swings. And,
Yeah, it's sick.
with that, you know, it just creates like a little current eddy.
Yeah.
And those fish get set up on certain places. And,
How long do you think those fish like stay in the area? Like, say you go out, you scout, you find a couple different schools. How long of a period can you go where you think there'll be fish there? without
it can
moving.
change hourly, daily. You just never know. Like when you get some rain and that lake gets a little current in it, like all the places that are good, every one of them will be good because it'll be
Oh,
pulling
okay.
a little current and they'll get on those little eddies and like the way the bait's getting pushed down the channel, like they'll all be good. But like right now, there was 0 current in the lake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like all those other places we were checking, there wasn't no fish on them. But if there was a little bit of current, they'd been on all of that stuff. A lot of it just depends on that type of stuff, you know. And even the fish that we did catch, you see how suspended they were. It's because there's no current. They're just sitting there chasing bait, you know, right under the surface and stuff like that. And but yeah, to answer your question, it changes every day. Like
Mhm.
it would not have surprised me even finding those fish this afternoon before we went if we would have went out there and there not been a fish there.
And they had to
We'd have
find
just had to
new
go find
schools.
some new schools. But
Right.
like, you know, from
How do you-
finding that school right there, like I'll just look for a lot of the same stuff, put the trolling motor down, roll around for a
So
second.
you can look at kind of like the last couple of days and be like, all right, we got some rain. It's going to have a little bit of current here.
Yep.
Based off what you already know from your experience.
Right.
And say, okay, these are the places I'm going to check out first.
Right.
And
For
you
sure.
start dissecting the lake like that.
For sure.
And that
So-
picks up your efficiency. Now you're way more efficient than somebody that's just going out there trying to find fish.
Right.
You know, yours gives you a step
So-
above.
So what I would do, what I was told to do, you know, is you know, if you're looking for fish, you know, you get on your troll motor, just scan. I hate that, but like if I'm not catching a fish and I don't have any fish located, I would get on my side imaging.
Yeah.
And I would look for
Brush.
bait balls.
Oh, bait balls. Yeah.
And I would look for suspending fish. I mean, is that something that works for you, or is it something that
It's-
I'm just doing?
No, it's situational. Like
Mm.
on Caney right now,
Right.
like it's such a big, deep, open lake. You
Right.
could 100% go out to Caney, look at side scan, find bait balls,
Yep.
put your troll motor down and catch fish.
Okay, got you.
Darbone, it's full of stumps. So like chasing them around bait balls is a lot tougher.
Right. I got you.
There's such a good defined creek channel in the lake.
Right.
A lot of those fish group up on the side of that creek channel.
I got you.
And, you know, the bait stays in the creek channel too.
Right.
You know, with Caney, there are creek channels, but it's got a lot of that deep open water that the fish roam around in too.
That's
It's just a-
it has a huge flat area out there.
Right, right. Yeah. It's just like we said a minute ago, everything's situational. But if
Right.
you're seeing bait, you know, right under the surface, there's probably bass chasing them.
Right.
Yeah.
And those
Especially-
are hard to catch most of the time.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's those minnow fish, the jighead minnow,
Mhm.
which is such a crazy
Glide
minnow.
baits and
You
stuff
know,
like
so
that.
Yeah.
crazy.
Everybody's
Now that I got these glide baits, remember that school I was on at the lake we like to fish
Yeah.
over there
Yeah.
across from the
You gotten
favorite
better.
spot?
You gotten a lot better by not mentioning our lake names.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Errol usually has them on blast.
You can
Yeah, I
tell.
mean-
We can tell we got a professional fisherman here. He ain't said it one time.
I'll tell Tyler off the clock. Beep.
We need a beeper for
There
that.
it be. But you know that one spot now, I'm like, you know, I can get those fish to bite anything. You know, you catch one every once in a while and shake it. I'm like, I bet
Hey,
I probably would smash.
hey.
There's some big ones in there. that were
Missing-
like,
missing
would not
key.
do anything.
if
Yeah.
those pictures you sent me of like those 6 and 7 pounders, were they from this certain lake? So it's got big fish in it.
Yeah.
Does it have big ones?
Yeah. If
I caught a double digit out of this lake.
if this lake's got big ones and you got brush piles, I promise you can go out there and you will catch the biggest fish in them piles on them.
Well, I promise you, we are now 10 times more likely to go try it than we were before yesterday.
I
because
promise that.
He told us where to stop on the way home, and we walked in there, and we were just gonna buy one glide bait, just
We're
to
going in. We're gonna get one.
test the water, right? And we talked to the lady. I said, you know, do y'all have any glide baits? And she didn't know we were talking about it first. And then we found one like somewhere else, like in the store, like more of these right here. And she's like, oh yeah. Pulls like a key out, walks over to this case and opens them. Well, they had like 5 different colors, but no duplicates of any. So we FaceTime them. And he's like kind of walking us through it. And the one that we thought that looked the worst, he was like, That's the best one right there.
Yeah, we're
Well,
like,
do we have
what?
that glad bait here?
Yeah,
Do we have it here?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's here.
Yeah.
yeah. And I'll
I'll show
grab it.
that glad bait because I got a buddy in Texas that's big on glad baits. And
So I bet your buddy in Texas likes this color too, because
I
there's
bet
a
he
lot of
does.
those sand bass. They call them sand bass.
yeah, you can
or
show the
whatever.
camera. Just get them out and show the camera.
Well, anyways, they only had 5 of these in the store, right? And he said, "Man, you can't go wrong with any of those colors." And I was like,
I think
"I guess we got to buy them all."
So we looked at each other like, all right, we told Lay, we'll take all of them.
We'll just take all of them.
So this, we call it barfish. I don't know why they only call it barfish in Louisiana and not in South Arkansas. I guess they call them
white
sand
bass,
bass,
white
or
bass,
white
yeah,
bass,
white
White
whatever.
bass, yeah.
But yeah, this is a really good color. You know, in North Louisiana, we have a lot of white bass swimming
White
ar-
That's hard for him to say.
A white bass.
swimming around, swimming around in our lakes, and the giants eat them. So, but yeah, this is very similar to the color I was throwing yesterday, just a darker, shed color. But Ditch Donkey makes these glides.
What were they made out of?
What town? Are they?
Yeah, what
it's like
town?
Jonesboro, Louisiana. Yeah,
I got you. Cool.
So he's a local guy. They're really good priced. I mean, for a good quality glide, usually you're going to spend a minimum of $150, all the way up to $1,000.
Yeah.
And for these glides, I mean, you're going to pay $80 a piece for them, and it doesn't hurt as bad when you get one hung up in a tree.
So what does I mean, what
Speaking of
makes
that,
a $150 glad bait versus a $1,000 glad bait?
I haven't really figured that out.
Okay, all right.
Because I've tried both. You know what I mean? I've had a couple of the really expensive ones, and I've had some of the cheaper ones too. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I've caught some on the cheap ones and stuff. But as far as like a very good price, good quality glide, the Ditch Donkey, these right here, for some reason I've been able to catch them on that thing. And Caney, Darbone, like we did yesterday, Claiborne. What I've struggled with is finding glides that you don't have to weight the trebles on.
I got
Right,
you.
right.
So you weight the trebles and
Let me see that
messes
piece, guy.
it messes the action up, and they roll and they do all this different stuff. These glides are weighted perfectly. When you put trebles on it, you don't have to wrap them in wire or nothing like that. So, and they have a perfect sink rate. When I'm fishing them anywhere from 12 to 15 foot deep.
So what size line, if somebody's listening, like what size line would you recommend for doing this? Like give them a whole setup. Give them a glide
So
setup.
For me, like I run 22 to 25 pound fluorocarbon
Okay.
on like a 7.6 to a 8 foot heavy rod.
Yeah.
You want something with kind of a soft tip, but a lot of backbone, because when they eat that thing with that heavy rod, it's hard to not rip it out of their mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you're not actually even hooking them in the mouth. They run up and try to kill it, and you'll hook them in the top of the head, and stuff like that.
So you're saying like a 7.6, like heavy with like a moderate.
Almost like crankbait rod, really.
Yeah.
Because the crankbait has like the
Like a
stiff,
10XD rod would be
yeah.
really
Yeah, 'cause
good.
it has
for
that
it.
stiff back
Yep.
with the loose tip. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
100%.
You just want to be able to let them load up on it. And the biggest thing, when I first started using glides is when they hit it so hard, and it's so hard not to just yank on them. But the best thing you can do is just reel into them, like,
Yeah.
Like crankbait
reel your
almost.
slack
Yeah.
and pull.
Yeah.
Is there anything you
like
like
a-
to do with like the treble hooks? Because I know everybody's got different preferences for treble hooks and things of that nature. Is there anything special you do to these?
Well, like you said, everybody has their own preference, but and these come with triple grip style hooks, which are really good when the fish are eating the bait. But if you're around some fish that are technically not as active and they're just running into it and stuff like that, I really like the round bends, because they will, for me, like I said, it's personal preference and everybody has different experiences. But for me, I have better luck, snagging them in the top of the head or whatever, and actually getting them in when they're not eating it.
Like
With
just
the round
swallowing
bend.
it,
Yeah.
I got you.
So it
Dude,
just,
I'm so excited.
because when you hook it's a big bait, but you can still catch a 2-pounder on it. A 2-pounder getting that all the way in his mouth is tough. You know what I mean? He's going to run into it, and you're probably going to hook him in the top of the head or whatever.
We know Chris.
Golly, I'm gonna go throw one.
Oh, Chris been telling us to throw this for months.
Yeah,
now.
Chris Wages, if you're watching this, all right, we're fixing to dive in. So I know you've been waiting on this for a long time, buddy, and the time is now.
Yeah, he called me last night or night before. Wanted to go down there and punch some mats. He's catching them on
Oh yeah,
mats right now.
What
yes.
what lake?
He fishes East Texas.
Oh, yeah.
all over the place. I mean,
Yeah,
he got some little lakes he fish. He got big lakes.
yeah.
that's just a good area, man. Like like East, Southeast
I was gonna
Texas.
say, if there's a lake around here that you can flip mats at right now, you need to let me know because that is my
Is that your
favorite.
favorite?
That is my favorite way to catch them.
Oh,
like
really?
when
No
you turn
way.
off all electronics, you got matted hydrilla, 8 to 20 foot, flipping an ounce and a half weight. That's my favorite way
That's
to
what
catch
he's
them.
flipping. He said,
Yep.
bring your big rod. You know, so he's catching them right now. He caught a 30-pound bag.
What?
You know?
This is terrible for us, really, because this is the deal we're running into, guys. It's like we're getting excited about everything all at one time.
Yeah.
Hunting season's coming.
No,
There's a spear season. You can
Biscuit,
hunt in archery,
That's you.
and there's fishing. Fishing's, I mean, you never can't fish.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, what do we do?
That
You
goes
could-
back to would you fish or hunt for a living?
Well, you know,
Or
the,
pick which one you fish.
the
or hunt.
bass boat's got big rod boxes. You put your spear in a rod box.
You could. You could like Lake Washita.
Hey, I
and
tell you
hunt
what
and
else.
then get in the boat and fish.
That's right.
The whole spear ordeal opened a whole nother can of worms because I was on there buying my spear. I seen a couple blow dart guns too, so I was like, well, I got to get those. You know what I mean?
So
now,
so you're glide bait fishing, spear hunting,
blow dart gun hunting as well
Okay.
for squirrel
And bow hunting.
Oh, yeah.
And bow hunting.
Yeah, great.
If y'all know any places where I could do all the 5 at one time, let me know.
Because
Save
they're
us some
standing, next to,
gas.
they're standing next to a creek. Throw the glide bait. Shoot a squirrel with
It's
the bow
terrible.
dart gun.
Hey,
Hope a doe walks up.
I just love the fall time, guys. It gets me
A
excited.
doe might actually
Football
walk up if you're
season
sitting there
starts. I
fishing.
mean, it's a good time of year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anything throw glide bait.
Yeah, the glide, believe it or not, it actually gets better throughout the fall and the winter.
Yeah.
Like January, February, them big ones will eat that glide. It is so much fun.
So
Yeah,
for the
that-
people that are watching, you know, as the fall continues, gets closer, you know, definitely want to get one of these in your arsenal. And if you have live scope, you know, find those schools and keep it above them. Make the bass chase it. You know, don't just drop it on them. You want to
Yeah.
kind of, you want to what?
When
kinda
they start
work it over
exerting,
'em?
when they start exerting some energy to it, that's when you start speeding it up, and that'll get them to commit.
It's so exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Golly.
There was
I
a
have
point-
to turn my head.
Dude, there was
Like,
a
I
point
literally have to turn my
yesterday
head.
there was
do you really? You
there
don't
was-
watch it, do you?
When they start coming, I turn my head because
don't watch it?
when they eat it like on the screen, like I miss it every time. I pull
Yeah.
it away from them every time.
there was a point yesterday. I
gotcha.
remember he had 8 bass chasing his glide bait, and he looks away from the screen, and he's just continuing doing it naturally the way he would do it, right? And he's like, I'm not looking. Daryl's like, oh my.
Yeah, I'm
Dude, there's like
oh
8
my god, there's
bass
like 8
chasing
big ones.
her.
They're you know, like lobster, like big old blobs.
I
Like,
know.
for
He's
sure
like-
big.
he's
I'm
like,
like,
I'm
oh
not
my
looking
God.
at
Oh my
it.
god, they're coming. Like they all just. I mean, they look.
Daryl make you more than I do.
He did. And then one locked me up
Dude,
and I lost it.
Yeah,
Dude,
what
he's a
I
hype
tell you,
man.
this is-
Daryl,
Oh my god, here it comes. You better get ready.
he sells the whole experience.
Everything's exciting with Daryl. I mean, it doesn't
Oh,
matter what
it is. It's a giant. It's a giant. Oh my god, I lost my net.
Dude, if you've seen these bass
Stay
on
on.
live scope, like they were sitting there and it was like one, and all of a sudden there was another big blob, and there's like a bunch of blobs just going crazy. I'm like, oh my-
Dude, they were
oh my God,
trying to
oh my God.
jump this
I'm trying
thing.
to throw my worm in there. Like, hold on, let me get right behind that.
Oh, I promise you, I was the first one back in the water after he's pulling them out.
You shake it.
Come on, here it is, right here. Come bite mine. It's here.
I know it is. It's crazy. Man, I think we'll wrap this thing up. We got some really exciting stuff we're going to do, you know, today as well that y'all will
Yeah.
see here shortly. So y'all make sure you stay tuned, and there'll be more of this coming, guys.
Are you gonna go live with that video, or
Ooh,
you
I
just
think-
gonna?
Oh, we
That
could.
could be. That would actually.
We
be
could go live.
a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, if you're seeing this, we may have went live or we may not have went live.
But you should check
But-
it out.
Definitely stay tuned.
If it doesn't work, it definitely. Well, I don't know. It might not work.
But if
It's going to work, guys. It's going to work. But
Yeah.
anyways, we're going to wrap this thing up.
so-
Leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Check out the gear shop. We're going to have new baits on here. Hopefully, we may be able to even maybe sell some of these because,
oh, that would be nice.
Oh,
Hey.
yeah, you could.
hey, if y'all want one of these, let us know. Drop in the comments what your favorite glide bait is or bait of this time of year. And catch you on the next one.